So you wanna go hard? So you wanna be the greatest? Your life is a fantasy, and it's all for the taking. Cause the time is now, and I gotta get it. I'm a beast, I'm a freak when it comes to winning. Eyes on the prize like a television.
Hey, it's Josh Jacobs, and you're listening to Fantasy Football Counselor.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Joseph Robert, the Fantasy Football Counselor, online here with Tim, the Ball Guy. We are back for our regular Monday show episode. What's going on?
And we're still not in the same room, the same area code. Wait, we are in the same area code.
I still don't want to come near you, Tim. I'm still afraid of you with everything that's happening.
And you should be.
Listen, Tim, we're going to do our shows Mondays and Thursdays now, and I'm glad you're back here. I want to get back to like a regular schedule. Today we're talking about fantasy football draft strategy. We're going to do a mock draft review. Now, Tim messages me and he says, "Hey, Joe, I got a B- on my thing, on my mock draft." I'm like, I never believe the Concheapsis rankings. Those guys are idiots. So I'm going to go over, we're going to review his mock draft, and I'm going to talk a little bit about strategy, pretty much for fantasy football draft strategy, but also do a mock draft review here with Tim, the Bald Guy. He's pretty happy with his B-.
I was like a little kid coming home from school. Look, mom, put it on the fridge.
You can't actually still believe in that shit, do you?
No, I don't, but I love it. I just love rubbing your nose in it. Joe, look at how good I did.
It's funny because he messaged me. He's like, "Look, Joe, I got a B-," and it sounded like he was happy. I couldn't tell if he was being sarcastic because it was over text. I'm like, "You're an idiot." I'm like, I don't want that sheep shit on my text. All right, so we're gonna go over his mock draft here. I'm gonna give you my strategy. Before we get into this, guys, head on over to thefantasyfootballcounselor.com. Get the 16-round draft solution, guys. This is the absolute game changer. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about kind of what I talk about in 16 rounds here as I'm reviewing the mock draft. Now, if you guys don't know what 16-round draft solution is, listen, I got tired of draft kits and cheat sheets where literally these analysts are giving you like copy and paste rankings. They're saying, okay, these are the guys you got to draft. This is the ADP ranking. Here's a sleeper here, but they're literally like ranking them in the same order that you basically be drafting them. And so if I go on to like NFL.com or something like that, and I'm doing a draft like for my league, right? I'm hosting my league on NFL, and basically I see the rankings. They rank them as you're drafting. They rank them in the order. So I'm thinking like, what value does a draft kit really give me? Maybe they'll give you a sleeper here and there. So I came up with 16 rounds, guys, where it's practical. I walk through every round strategy. These are the guys I recommend. I omit guys that aren't optimal or that are in committees. I filter all that out and give you guys everything on a silver platter. Make sure you get it. And we're going to be talking 16 rounds as I go through this mock draft with you a little bit, Tim.
Right. So let me just start off by saying everybody should know by now that you love the robust RB strategy, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. However, I wanted to do something a little different. And in fact, This was brought on by a question in the last video we did together where people were writing me saying, okay, so if you've got the third pick and Saquon and Christian McCaffrey are gone, who do you take? And I never answered the guy. Here's your answer.
All right, so we're going to pull up Tim's mock draft. Now, if you guys are in the car listening on audio, I'm going to try to walk through it best I can via audio as well. It's going to be very easy to follow. So I'm going to pull it up here for you guys. I don't know if you can see it there, Tim. You got it?
Yeah, we got her.
All right, so Tim went third in this mock draft. And as you can see here, Tim actually was third, and he went with Michael Thomas. So there was Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Michael Thomas. And I'm ripping Tim into this because, listen, Michael Thomas had a pinnacle year, Tim, last year. I do not see him. Let's talk about this first round thing here. I don't see him having that same type of year. 185 targets, not going to happen again. See, I would have probably gone either Zeke or Derrick Henry here at the third pick. What were your thoughts here? I know you wanted to mix it up.
Okay, so I'm cautious on the Zeke thing. That was one of my players to avoid. I still love him at the right spot, but to me right now, I think he's going too high. I think Pollard is going to take too much. I think the team has improved so much on offense that I just don't think Zeke is going to have the big numbers either. I'm very happy if Michael Thomas loses 40, 50 points. I don't care. I still think he's right there. He's worthy of that third pick. When it comes to Derrick Henry, I kind of always bash the running backs that can't do reception or receiving. Last year, I'm going to say he had the anomaly year. Man, am I losing it? He performed way better than what I would have thought he could do. And I don't think he's got the same this year either. So for me, you got to move him back down the line as well. So that's why I went with Michael Thomas.
All right. And a lot of people have been asking me, Joe, well, why don't you just go wide receiver first round? So there, we did something different here. Again, I wouldn't have gone Michael Thomas there. And it's funny, this guy went Devontae Adams right after you. So he must have known you're the bald guy. He's following a trend here.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. And then we got Zeke Elliott coming in at 5, then Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, Kenyon Drake. A lot of people do kind of mess around with the drafts. It is a mock draft, so you'll see some weird stuff happening. Like Kenyon Drake at the end of first. I understand the ceiling's high. Trust me, this guy could be a top 10 finisher if he plays like the big games that he did. He had a couple big games last year. Is he going to play like that? I doubt it. He hasn't finished a full season as a workhorse running back. He's just not been tested like that for a grueling full season. They got Benjamin there, Arizona State. They may use him. He could, who I'm calling maybe could be the next Phillip Lindsay. Because again, some of these guys from the same state, they like their guys from the same town, right? If he performs, why not start him, right? So we're doing it a little bit different here, Tim. So it looks different. I love Josh Jacobs here near the end of the first round here. So, everything looks pretty solid, for the first round.
Right on. Yeah, I could see a couple of these guys moving up and down a little bit. I totally agree on the Kenyon Drake thing. Obviously, you just heard me say I think Zeke is a little too high. I'm not too bad with him at 5th, believe it or not, but I do believe he's going to bring it down a little bit this year. I don't think he's going to be as high. So I don't mind most of these. I still think Josh Jacobs is pretty damn high at the 9th overall.
The reason I'm pushing robust RB so heavily is because, again, you want to lock in those running backs that have minimal committees. There's only a handful of those guys that are full and true workhorses. And I love this year because you're going to get a ton of value. I love David Johnson in the 4th round. You're getting a workhorse running back that's going to get the volume, and you're getting them for huge value. So I just love this year. This is what I talk about in 16 rounds. It's like the way I lay it out, you're going to be optimized everywhere. And everyone's like, well, Joe, I'm worried about wide receivers. If I go robust, who's that wide receiver? And I want to implore you guys and emphasize this. There's a ton of value because you literally got to fill 2 wide receiver spots. Most people have 3 in their league. That's fine. You get 3 solid wide receivers and you load up your bench with 2 or 3 other guys, you're going to fill those wide receiver spots. And even if you're a little bit weak on one of the wide receivers out of the 3, you're going to be compensating that because you're going to get the full workload out of those running backs. So I talk all about this, guys, in the 16 round. I don't want to reveal too much, but I'm giving away a lot of stuff for free, which is great. And I encourage that. That's why you guys got to subscribe and leave a thumbs up. And no one's talking about this stuff. All right, so round 2 here, we got Tyreek Hill. I don't like this, Tim. And I know you didn't go Tyreek Hill here, but I'm saying he's kind of boomer busty. At the end of the year, he may finish up with the 300 points and have the big finish overall, but you're going to have those games where you're going to be lacking. And some people are okay with that. Some people aren't. He's typically coming off, late first round, early second. He slipped here to the second round here, which is shocking. I usually see him coming off here from the mock drafts I've done here. I don't like it, Tim. Are you okay with going for a boom bust guy that'll finish strong, but will at the end of the day just be like, have those volatile games? Are you okay with that?
No, for me, for the most part, I like to have a safe and solid, reliable guy. I don't want the boomer bust. If I'm playing DFS, yeah, I'm absolutely happy having someone like that. But to put a high pick on a guy like that, no, I really prefer safe and secure. I'm that kind of player.
All right, let's keep reviewing this here, Tim. Let me just pull it up. All right, so we got Julio Jones, Eckler. I think this is early for Eckler. I know you're high on Eckler, but he has not proven that he's a full workhorse running back. I think he had like 130 plus attempts last year. He's a pass catching running back. The problem is the guy that was throwing the ball to him, Rivers, is not there. So that's a concern to me, Tim.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I would love to get Eckler in the second. The fact that I couldn't get him and went with Miles Sanders instead, I'm okay with that. But I like Eckler. I think in PPR, he's still going to be a great player.
Right. And I'm going to run through in depth with the first 5 rounds, and then we're going to rip through the end of the round. If you guys want everything from me, I mean, like literally, I don't leave anything on the table. Get the 16-round draft solution. Tim, it is the game changer. I cannot emphasize to you. So I'm going to, and if you're listening to this, you're saying, hey, Joe, that actually makes sense. And you're like, oh my God, 16 rounds is for me, right? So what I'm going to tell you guys is practical stuff. I have an eagle eye, bird's eye view of everything. So I'll give you an example of what I mean by strategy and how I think outside the box. There's the next 2 players, perfect example. So these guys went, so again, we're in the second round here. They went Tyreek, Julio, Eckler, Mixon, Godwin, and Chubb are the next 2 guys. So let's talk about these guys. Let's talk about Chris Godwin here first. The issue I have here, Tim, with Chris Godwin is that it's the roll of the dice. So they've got a new quarterback again, Tom Brady coming in. Well, he's not new. He's an old quarterback on a new team, right? So So he's there now. Godwin, I think, finished second in PPR last year. I don't have the stats in front of me. Evans finished just outside the top 10. Evans is technically on paper the wide receiver one. They've got Gronk back. We understand that based on last year, James White had about 95 targets from Brady. So now we've got Ronald Jones. They got Keyshawn Vaughn. There's a ton of volume. We know Brady throws to running backs, pass catching backs, which they have right now. They were looking at Devontae Freeman. As of right now, June 1st, he's not on the team right now. Could get another pass catching back. So you're going to get a ton of targets to the running back. Then you've got Evans and you got Godwin. One of those guys is going to emerge. Never have I seen Brady have two wide receivers that boom, right? We have like Edelman, who has a pretty solid year. Everybody's kind of like fizzles out the other wide receivers. He spreads the ball around. So the way that the consensus have it now, Tim, this is what's bothering me, is that both Godwin and Evans are in the top 10. So they're being drafted in the second, early third, latest. So you're basically rolling the dice on one of these guys. So it's like roulette here, right? Who is it going to be? And that's the big question mark. So to me, I'm going with that robust RB strategy. I'm going to avoid both Godwin and Evans and avoid the miss there. Do you understand the thought process here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. And there's a lot of mouths to feed in Tampa Bay this year. One of these guys, like you say, is going to be the wide receiver one, but even still, it may not be a huge gap between the two of them. They may actually finish in points very close to each other. So,
but I don't see top 10 each, both being many number, that high numbers, right? But they're being drafted like that. And I don't see anybody talking about this. I see Godwin coming off in the second, Evans in the third here. But the problem is, Tim, Evans is technically the wide receiver one. So who is Brady going to gravitate to, right? And then the thing about it is the reason Godwin's actually going earlier than Evans in all these mocks is because Godwin finished ahead of Evans, predicated on last year's finish, right? Then that's not the fair way to judge it. If you like Evans and you generally feel based on his talent that he's better, go with Evans before Godwin, right? Don't just say it's going to be Godwin because he finished on top. But that's how all the drafts are going. Does this make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure.
It's crazy. So I'm just going to stay away. Here's another fantasy football draft tip or draft strategy here for 2020 and beyond. When in doubt, get out. If you have any major question marks about a guy and you don't feel good about it, stay away. And I get criticized a lot. Well, Joe's a gut feeling guy. Yeah, hell yeah. That's a big part of success for fantasy football. A lot of it relies on gut, but also research that backs the gut feeling as well. So I'm not feeling good about this. Not only, so my first initial feeling is I don't feel good about it. Second initial feeling is like, okay, well, I got to do the research. My feeling is like, I got to go do some research. So yeah, my gut feeling is telling me I got to research it. When I look at it, I don't like the situation. All right, let's move on here. I spent a lot of time on that, but I want to emphasize the thinking that goes behind this. So I don't just lay players out and say, hey, just draft that guy because I feel like it. There's reasoning why I'm not drafting Evans and Godwin in the second round, period. Make sense?
Yep.
All right, Nick Chubb here comes off. Again, I won't elaborate on this, but I'm going to keep saying this, Tim. I'm going to say it till the cows come home or whatever the saying is. Kareem Hunt outscored Nick Chubb 6 out of the 8 games together in PPR. Outscored. Didn't just come close to taking half. Outscored. I don't care if it was 1 point in one of those games. Bottom line is I'm looking at this as a 50-50 split, even if it's 60-40. Let's be conservative. Let's say 65-35 for Chubb. That's still a ton of 35 to 40% going away to Kareem Hunt. So why would I invest a first round or early second round pick on Nick Chubb, knowing what I've seen last year, that Kareem Hunt is going to be a factor, right? I know there's new coaching, this and that says, oh, Chubb's going to run the ball because new coach, you ran Delvin Cook, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Listen, it's still going to be a committee. What are your thoughts on this, Chubb? Do you trust Chubb as your RB1?
No, man. I mean, we've talked about this enough. Anybody who watches our show consistently would know that both of us agree on this. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, no way. Too much of like a 50-50 committee. And it's kind of funny because you can see that Chubb went middle second here. Kareem Hunt didn't go till like early to mid 8th round.
Crazy.
That's insane. I mean, both of these guys justifiably throw them in the 3rd to 4th. And I'd be okay taking one of them there, depending on what my options are. I wouldn't be thrilled with it, but I would be okay taking one of them there.
And it's crazy here. Next pick, Melvin Gordon. Are you kidding me right now? I can get myself a Leonard Fournette set for workload, Todd Gurley set for workload.
And talk about a committee there. Like, come on, that is 3 running backs, 3 capable running backs, and you're going to take them in the middle second?
This is crazy. And again, there's some variance here from how it would really play out in like a pro league and that type of thing. But for the most part, this is basically on ADP, which is exactly how I want to see it. And this is exactly what 90% of your league mates are going to be drafting like. So at the end of the day, stay the hell away from this garbage. And this is why 16 rounds is a game changer, because I'm going to filter that. Melvin could have a good year, but Lindsey's going to be a thorn. That's the bottom line. Kelsey here, again, why would I invest in a tight end here when there's so much value at tight end and you double up on tight ends later? You get yourself a TJ Hawkins and Noah Fant. Get yourself a TJ Hawkins and Geno Smith. Get yourself, some value there. As long as I get 10 points out of my tight end and get guys that are high ceiling, that's what I do. And I keep going back to an example a couple of years ago. Everyone was drafting Gronkowski round 1. I said, wait, get yourself a wild card near the end and back him up with a safe guy, or get a safe guy, back him up with a wild card. I had Kittle. Kittle boomed that year. Gronkowski busted. I was a winner, and I'm going to continue to win by waiting on tight end. This is a waste of a pick, Tim, here. Tight end, second pick.
Let me stop you here and ask you kind of a crazy question, but maybe this would be something a lot of beginner players would ask. Why am I not going with the 4 most common positions? Why am I not going with the best one with each of my first 4 picks? So, for example, why am I not going a Michael Thomas in 1, grabbing the next best running back in 2, grabbing the best tight end or quarterback in 3? Why am I not doing that? Why am I not putting up the majority of my points in those first 4 rounds?
I mean, I can answer that in 2 parts. I mean, first part, there's a ton of depth at wide receiver. So you can get a ton of wide receiver 1s, rounds 5 to like 8. You'll still get some wide receiver 1s. And the reason I go robust, which just leads to my main strategy for the first 4 rounds, and I'm okay with going 4 running backs the first 4 rounds. Bottom line is this. That is a very scarce position. Like I said, there's only a handful of running backs that have that don't have a major committee that's going to be affecting them, right? So you want to tackle that scarce position. And if you look at ADPs, right? So let's just say you do go Lamar. There's a ton of depth at quarterback. I mean, you can get a ton of quarterbacks later. So if you go quarterback, there's only a handful of quarterbacks that you'd snipe early in those rounds. So it's a big question of like, do I want Lamar in the second round? And the question is no. So that answers I don't need a quarterback in the second round, right? Wide receiver, there's only a handful of real wide receiver 1s, but we've seen them bust. We saw Odell bust last year. I told you, stay away from Odell. We saw Devontae Adams get hurt and bust basically because of that injury last year. So there's no guarantees with these wide receiver 1s anyway. So you're better off loading up at the position where you almost feel it's a guarantee because they're going to get that volume based on the history. Your Zekes, your Barkleys, your Henrys, your Jacobs, the guys that are primed for that workload. That's why I load up on running backs. Does it make sense?
It does. I'm glad. I'm just trying to get the explanation and give it out for people who maybe aren't the professional players here, or maybe they're a second-year player and they're still kind of questioning the idea behind things.
For sure. See, I'm getting a lot of criticism. A lot of people saying, hey, Joe, you keep going robust RB. Well, the bottom line is I'm not going to do something that I wouldn't do in a draft. You know what I mean? I could play around and say, let's go robust wide receiver for the heck of it. But I'm basically wasting everybody's time. So I'm giving you guys different combinations at the robust RB strategy and breaking it down that way. I just don't want to waste people's time. I want to give people practical advice that actually works. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
All right, so we got Kelsey coming off the board. We're at the end of round 2 here. Allen Robinson, Miles Sanders, Lamar Jackson, and DJ Moore. Now, you went Miles Sanders, so I'm going to give you guys my knock to this. First of all, what is your thought process to Miles Sanders right now?
So my thought process there is he is an RB1 on his team. I don't think there's anybody else that's really going to challenge him. Looking at who was still available, I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no, I'm not that high on him. Lenny Fournette and David Johnson, I am really high on, and we're going to talk about them later. But for me right now, Miles Sanders was kind of the best fit at running back as far as I was concerned.
And I don't blame you as of right now, June 1st, but they were entertaining. Carlos Hyde's not going to be on there. He's going to be on the Seahawks, and they were entertaining Devontae Freeman. And I think they still are as of today. I haven't looked at the news as of today, but he's looking at Tampa Bay or the Eagles. I think that was a landing spot for Freeman. This is terrible, man. I mean, the fact that they're entertaining it concerns me. So if you are drafting earlier, this is a guy I'm going to be avoiding as of like right now, simply because I don't trust the Eagles having him become the workhorse. So I'm going to just stay away from him. And I don't feel warm and fuzzy. And I don't believe the Eagles believe in him as the workhorse running back.
Right. And when we were talking about this before we came on air, you were also seeing how Gurley didn't go to the 4th. And you were like, dude, why wouldn't you take Gurley there? And once again, I'm just not as high on Gurley this year as you are. I think he's still got the problem with his knees. I don't think he's going to be the Gurley of 2 years ago. So Miles Sanders, to me, like I said, it's always safe, secure, solid points, and that's why I went Sanders.
So I'm gonna go against that, and I think Gurley's gonna beast. And I've seen Gurley come off in the late second round. I'm surprised he slipped to the fourth here. It's mind blowing. Maybe it was just based on the ADP of where he was sitting. But yeah, I mean, I've seen him come off in the second. So I'd probably go Gurley here. I would have probably gone Henry and Gurley at this point in the game, or Clyde Edwards-Helaire here and have Gurley fall according to the way this draft was going. Have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, because I love the ceiling and the talent of Helaire, and the competition is there's no competition there. I mean, Damian Williams sucks. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire could really emerge there. So I go with my secure, let's say Derrick Henry at 3 or Zeke, and come back and I get a guy that, you know, has a wild card upside and a huge ceiling in Helaire at number 2. And I see him coming off late second. So again, they went Lamar Jackson end of second. DJ Moore, way too high on DJ Moore, considering you got Bridgewater coming in to throw the ball. We don't know. The ceiling is high, but, you know, I don't know if I trust that man at all.
Yep.
Kittle round 3, Clyde Edwards-Helaire I see coming up, and you went Leonard Fournette, who you love as well, set for a workload year. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars saying they weren't going to be interested in him. They were thinking of trading him. Never happened. I think he's got to prove that he is an elite running back for any other team to look at him and consider paying him. He's got to prove himself. So big contract year for Leonard Fournette, make or break year for this man. So yeah, I definitely see the urgency for him, and I definitely see his value here being a clear-cut running back 1 in the 3rd round. I think this is a steal.
Not to mention his use in the receiving game last year jumped so drastically. If he can continue that pace as well as a PPR machine, he's right there, man. So picking him up in the 3rd to me was a no-brainer.
Yeah, I love Golladay here. I think his ceiling is astronomical as long as Stafford is healthy. I mean, Golladay had 2 touchdowns in the first 4 games, and he was being targeted quite heavily in the red zone. So I do love him here. Again, I'm probably not going to get him because I am going robust RB. Let's just move on here. Let's rapid fire, and let's rapid fire through every round because I can sit here and talk about this all day. So Kenny Golladay, Mike Evans, Cooper Kupp, Pat Mahomes, Odell Beckham, Adam Thielen, Juju, Amari Cooper, Zach Ertz. All I got to say with this round, I'd probably wait. Juju has a high ceiling, trust me, but I'd probably get like a Deontay Johnson later and maybe even back him up with a Claypool later. A.J. Brown, love the value here in the 4th round. Gurley, love him in the 4th round. Keenan Allen, I'm a little concerned about him. With what's his name, Tyrod there. I don't know if I trust Keenan. I mean, he was a big product of Phillip Rivers, right?
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with Tyrod on that team at all.
Mark Andrews, way too early for a tight end. Jonathan Taylor, good value in the 4th round. Sutton, Ridley, love the ceiling. Chris Carson, he's got some company there. I'm staying away from Carson. His injuries bother me, and they've got Carlos Hyde. Darren Waller, and then you went David Johnson. What are your thoughts? Because everyone thinks I'm nuts for David Johnson this year. Biggest deal.
We keep talking over each other. I don't get it, guys. I mean, I don't care if he lost a step, if he can't cut as hard as he used to. He is the clear-cut RB1 on this team. And he was a guy who just a couple years ago put up, was it 400 points?
Yeah, 2016, he had the 407 PPR points, 20 all-purpose touchdowns, 16 on the ground, 4 receiving.
He's still young, man. So he should be able to bounce back from those injuries. And hopefully with some extra time off this year or some proper conditioning and everything, hopefully he is, even if he lost a step, kind of the David Johnson of old. And even if he only puts up 280 points, 250 in the 4th round, I'm totally willing to take that chance on this guy.
Okay, I'm just going to elaborate on this for 2 minutes here because I'm getting a lot of criticism of David Johnson. Okay, here's the thing. 4th round is the biggest steal in fantasy football history. This is going to be a steal. People are like, oh, Derrick Henry was a big steal, but I was getting him in the 2nd round last year. I knew that Henry was going to boom, and every Concheapsis ranking analyst had him outside of the top 10, okay? So I want to elaborate on this David Johnson thing. I want to give you a hypothetical situation, Tim, okay? Because a lot of people are saying David Johnson wasn't performing last year. Okay, so you work for me, Tim. We run an auto shop, for example, okay? And I tell you, hey, Tim, you are going to be fired. And you're hearing buzz that you're going to be fired, okay? And you're going to be fired. You're probably going to leave next year, maybe next week, right? Would you, in the back of your mind, really, and then you were a shareholder, but we've taken all your shares, we've promoted another guy. Would you care to do would you put your top performance in this company if you know you're leaving in a week, honestly?
No, man. Everybody knows that. If you're getting feelings that a company's going to let you go or something's going wrong, your attitude's not right at work anymore, you're going to have that F it mentality. I don't care who you are. I'm still going to do my job, but I'm going to do it with the FU mentality.
Okay, so now there's a new shop, ABC's Auto Shop opens up down the street. They hire you, they promote you. You have shares in this. You take a portion of your mortgage, you put shares into this new auto shop down the road. They promote you to manager, and you have a chance to put XYZ company who fired you out of business down the street. And, would you give everything into the ABC new company? I would.
Yeah, man. Someone that believes in me, someone that puts faith in me and shows me what I'm worth. You've got everything of me for sure.
And you have a chance to say F you to the company that screwed you. I can do better. That's exactly what's happening here. I had to give this long analogy because people are thick-skulled and say David Johnson sucks because he's had some rough years. Listen, he still finished top 9 a couple years ago in PPR. The year before that, he had a fluke wrist injury, which sidelined him, and he got screwed by a coach who wanted to implement a new offense. David Johnson is primed to succeed this year, I assure you.
I know one thing that people keep on nagging on you about, especially though, is the fact that when David Johnson was having those rough years, you were still really high on David Johnson, really high on. Look back at our videos. You can't. Unfortunately, we removed them. I was not that guy. I was like, drop him. He's not performing. He's not worth it right now. This year, I am all for him. I totally see the benefit of it.
Yeah, people are like, why'd you remove your videos? Listen, we just wanted to go 4K, revamp the channel. And with fantasy content, it really just gets outdated. You're not going to go back 3 years and look at the top 10 running backs for 2019, really, unless you're looking at a statistical page. So I just cleaned up the page and cleaned up some old podcasts. All right, so let's move on here with this mock draft here, Tim. Where are we here? Can you see the screen?
Yeah, man, we're good.
All right, perfect. So let's continue on here. All right, so let's move on here with the third round here. So
fourth round. We're just after David Johnson.
We're on the fourth round. That's right. Okay, let's move on here with the fourth round, Tim. All right, so you went David Johnson, Robert Woods, T.Y. Hilton to wrap this up, right?
Yep.
All right, so here's the thing with this round here. Now, A.J. Brown, love him. Todd Gurley, love him. Ridley, love the value. Taylor, love the value. David Johnson. Woods could have a good season, and T.Y. Hilton, love him in the fourth round. All right, so let's just kind of rapid fire just through your picks because I'd sit here all day, and I don't want to sit here all day. Get the 16-round draft solution. That'll explain everything. So you went Tyler Lockett here. Just want to talk about this pick in the, fifth round?
Yeah.
I mean, Metcalf, I think, has a higher ceiling. I don't know. I mean, he's a safe guy. I would have probably went with Shark. I see Shark slipped a little bit after that. I would have probably went Shark. He's more clear-cut wide receiver 1 there in Jacksonville.
Yeah, you were actually saying Diggs, Shark, and Metcalf, who pretty much went in the 3 right after me, with Lev Bell separating them. But to me, I just kind of looked at everything overall, and I felt a little more safe and secure with Lockett. That's all.
All right, the next pick, we're in the 6th round. You went David Montgomery. Thoughts there? I mean, I love him. This is a steal. You're getting a running back 1 who's going to get a ton of volume. And Nagy's job's on the line. He's got to eat.
Yeah, and once again, everybody who listens to us would know last year I was not high on David Montgomery the way you were. So I have no problem taking Montgomery in the 6th. To me, that's right where he belongs, and I'm happy. In fact, he could maybe jump up a little higher. So at the 10th pick in the 6th round, totally happy there to take a David Montgomery.
So I heard he's working on his top end speed this year. So he's gonna be more explosive from what I'm hearing. Yeah, I know his trainer, a guy that works with him. Marvin Jones, Anthony Miller. I don't agree with these picks at all. I'm surprised Matt Ryan fell here. This is the ninth round?
And that's why I had to jump on him. I mean, to see him still sitting there, I was like, oh man, I got to get him now or he's going to be gone. So I made sure I got Matt Ryan in the 9th.
I see him coming off as early as the 7th. This is crazy. But I don't like Jones and Miller. I just think there's better guys. I like Deontay Johnson's ceiling a little bit more. Slayton's got some ceiling there. Other guys I like in and around here. I talk about all that in 16 rounds. Larry Fitzgerald here, I guess, for the 10th round, he is value, but I'm staying away from that situation with Hopkins there, Kirk. This guy's kind of being fizzled out. This guy took Michael Pittman before you. I'd like the ceiling of Michael Pittman over Larry Fitzgerald here. I don't like Fitz.
Right. And you know what? The same sort of deal. Aging guy. He's kind of getting up there, but he's safe, solid at a 10th spot as my wide receiver 4 or 5. I'm okay with that.
I don't like Murray again. I just don't aim for running back 2s unless I know they're going to potentially take the job. See, I would like Madison because I think he's actually going to take the job away from Cook when Cook goes down again. And it's so crazy that I'm actually saying that, Tim. But I'm so I'm convinced that Dalvin Cook's going down 3 years in a row. I would never touch him. And Latavius Murray is going to be a safe guy. Maybe if you need to cover a bye week or something. I don't like this. There's no ceiling there.
To me, I'm happy. I've already got my solid starters. I've got 3-4 running backs that I'm already super happy with. So to take a chance on a Latavius Murray, like you say, even though he's kind of a bench warmer and he's just in the background, so is Alexander Madison. And the only way he's going to get anything is if Cook does go down. So yeah, I'm happy with Murray there.
All right, Goddard again. I guess that's
I didn't want Goddard, man. Believe me, I'm pissed that Hayden Hurst went 4 picks before that. That's who I want. That's who I am targeting.
I know Hayden Hurst there. I see Noah Fant come off in the same round as well. I would have liked those guys higher ceiling. The Bears defense, that's pretty solid here for this round. I like to wait, but as soon as I start seeing top 10 defense come off, I try to grab them. Down the line, Zerline comes off in 14th, and then Phillip Rivers, who could be a solid backup to your Matt Ryan, 2 veteran quarterbacks. Not bad, man. It's not a bad draft. A couple things I changed. Again, I don't like the wide receiver choices in here. I probably wouldn't have went Miles Sanders here, and I would definitely went running back at 3.
Yeah.
That's it. There you have it. There's Tim's. What would I grade this? I give you a C plus.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. I'll take it. And I'm pretty happy with the majority of my picks. Obviously, there were some that I was debating on, and it's a coin flip sometimes, guys. There's always some luck that plays into how your team's going to be. So, pretty happy with the majority of my picks, though.
Tim and I are in a dynasty league. I kind of want to stop doing these leagues because everyone just copies my picks. It's funny because I was in a couple experts leagues last year, and people just knew what pick I liked. They try to snipe them before I got them, and it's just they know who I like because I'm pretty transparent with certain players, and they try to snipe some of my players, which I hate. For example, if I'm in a draft, I got Gurley and Allaire. I kind of like that turn there around 2 to 3. I would like Clyde Edwards and Gurley there, right? I would love that. And they know I want David Johnson when I come back. So, being in a league of people that know my stuff, they're definitely going to snipe David Johnson before he comes back to me in the 4th. And that is something that bothers me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, I always have a backup plan for a backup plan. I got more aces up the sleeve here. And that's what I talk about in 16 rounds. So make sure you guys get it. You can see the thought process here. It's not just like, hey, guys, this is the ADP. Just draft based on ADP. And last year, this goes back to last year. Let's just talk about last year, and I'll let everybody go. We'll say goodbye. You guys smash thumbs up and get 16 rounds. I want to just add this note. Everybody thought I was crazy when I said Landry's better than Odell, and I said don't draft Le'Veon Bell. Stay away from Damian Williams. Years to while I'm not wowed. Stay away from who else? There's a bunch of guys I stayed away from. I can't even think right now. And Antonio Brown, 2nd round. He was another guy. Odell, we talked about.
Chubb.
Chubb did okay, though. I mean, near the end of the season, I said he'd screw you, and he did. He screwed a lot of people in the championships. I just stayed away from that situation. And the criticism that always comes back to me is you said David Johnson 1st overall last season. Listen, David Johnson was top 5. I didn't draft David Johnson in all my leagues. There was a ton of leagues I had Barkley. There's a ton of leagues I had Zeke. A ton of leagues I had Christian McCaffrey. Everyone's like, you told us no Christian McCaffrey. I just said no. I try to dance around certain players, but Christian McCaffrey had a pinnacle year. He's going to go down this year. I had Christian McCaffrey in a couple of my other leagues as part of my robust RB strategy last year. Then I had Christian McCaffrey. In one league, I had Christian McCaffrey, Henry, and Jacobs. Those are my 3 running backs last year because I implemented the robust RB strategy. So, yes, David Johnson's a knock, but he's still going top 5. But again, the bullets I helped you guys dodge last year, it just compensates for that one pick if you went with them because you probably went and got Jacobs in round 2, 3 anyway. So, guys, stick with me. This is not a consensus rankings. But the thing I'm trying to say here is picks like Le'Veon Bell, 1st round last year, and Antonio Brown 2nd round, and Odell Beckham, they looked normal when I was warning against them. The same type of thing this year, and I help you guys dodge those bullets in 16 rounds. If this makes sense.
Yeah, man. And one of the best things about us, too, is you are that year-long player a lot more than I am. I'm more of a DFS. I like looking at numbers really quickly, doing some formulas in my head, coming up with the spreads and the stats. So I'm more of a DFS and even props type guy, whereas you're the year-long guy. So I love doing a mock draft like this and getting your opinion on it. Once again, I'm pretty happy with it. You tell me some things that you'd take this guy before this guy. It's all good, and that helps all of our listeners. So whether you are that year-long or that DFS guy, we're kind of going to have you covered.
Tim, I'm an everything fantasy football guy.
Well, I know that, but you do lean more towards year-long.
I love my year-long. I love the fact that because the thing is, when I draft a player, I like to hold. Even with stocks, like I'm a buy and hold kind of guy. I don't like the disposable stuff. But mind you, I love DFS. The only thing that frustrates me with DFS is a lot of people get lucky. So and I'll have my safe guys, and then it's just about nailing the right wild card guy that goes off and inflates you. So if you're in a league with 10,000 people and your team just happens to have, a guy that blows up, they have like Devlin James or James Devlin, the running back. Remember, I think he's retired now, but he was like the fullback for the Patriots, and he runs for 3 touchdowns. And some guy just happened to draft him, it's a total dice roll. Whereas year long, I think there's more strategy to it. There's more thought process. It's more methodical. It's more investing in the right players and talent. That's why I love dynasty leagues, because I always spot the rookies. Calling out Kareem Hunt when he broke out, calling out Todd Gurley in his breakout year, Michael Thomas, David Johnson before he broke out. And if that's not proof, I was standing in David Johnson's house and we said that he's going to be first overall and he crushed it that year. So it's about seeing talent before it breaks out, and that's one thing I really love about the year long.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, leave your questions below. Smash a thumbs up, and we ripped apart Tim's mock draft.
I'm okay with it.
All right. Try to get back to our Monday, Thursday shows, guys. Thank you for being here. And we are out, guys. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Have a good one, everybody.
Get 16 rounds. Let's dominate.